Haha. What? See, it's already going. Okay. Fair warning. If you are watching this on YouTube, it is gonna go in and out of focus. My bad. But I cannot fix that right now. I have been working with it for like 30 minutes and it still won't fix itself. That's okay. Anyway. Hi and welcome to Spooky Time, where it's time to get spooky. I cracked myself up. Okay, I just turned the lights down. Anyway, to those of you watching on YouTube, again, you will see my spooktastic setup, which is basically just no lights, and that's really why my camera is going in and out of focus, because it's low light. And also I've got this oil diffuser in front of me. It's like really nice because it's red and it's blowing out steam, but my camera is not having it. But for those of you who are not watching on YouTube, you will not see my spooktastic setup, obviously. But have no fear, because you too can experience the spooky if you just stay tuned. Alright, let me warn you now, this podcast is going to be all over the place, but I'm going to have fun with it. So the goal here really is just to have a nice chat while doing spooky related things. Also, new game. Take a shot every time I say the word spooky. I've seen a lot of like really cringy girls go around saying this all the time now. And what am I trying to say? Apparently it's really trendy, and it bothers me so much that I decided to overuse that word during this whole podcast. Just because it's funny to me. Probably not to you, but it's funny, it's funny to me. Now on to the show. I figured the best way to start off this spooky podcast is to tell you a story of something spooky that happened to me. I really gotta stop. And it goes like this. So several years ago, I was spending the week at my grandma's house. I did that all the time growing up. And staying there with me were a few other people. It was my brother, my cousin, my grandma obviously, and my cousin's friend, who we will call Pablo for the sake of this story. Anyway, so my cousin actually we'll call Petunia. So cousin's friend, Pablo, cousin Petunia. Alright, so it was late in the evening. We had just had a full day. We've been playing outside. We've been singing karaoke. We've been playing video games. We have been having a really, really good time. And we just eaten a really good meal. And so it was time to relax. And we decided to put on a movie. And Pablo looks through the stack of DVDs in the den, and he suggested we watch The Ring. Let me tell you about that. So Pablo, Petunia, and my grandma, they'd all seen this movie before, but I'd never heard of it, because this would have been, at the time, the first horror movie that I'd ever watched. And so I was going to leave the room and just watch something else on another TV, which is what my brother ended up doing. Smart choice. I should have followed him, but I didn't, because Petunia somehow convinced me that the movie was actually not that scary. And so we watched it. Now, if you know anything about this movie, The Ring, you will know that there are a couple of things in particular that are just very memorable about this movie. One, there's a cursed videotape that if you watch it, it will kill you, basically. Number two, okay, like I'm doing a spooky podcast and I'm just making sure that nothing spooky is in here. Number two, if you watch this videotape, the girl will call you and she'll whisper, 7 days, like that. And that's it. And then you have 7 days to live. Basically, that's just kind of how it goes. Okay, so once those 7 days are over, you see a ring and she jumps out of something reflective, like a TV, and then she kills you. So, While we were watching this movie, I was absolutely terrified. I regretted it. I said, why am I doing this? Why am I here? I'd really rather honestly be watching the Teletubbies right now than this. And so I was just ready to get over with. I had a pillow over my face. I didn't watch most of the scarier scenes, like when she'd pop out and like at people and stuff like that. I also never watched the parts where they showed the videotape, the cursed videotape. I wouldn't watch it because I said it doesn't seem like something I should watch, if you get what I'm saying, right? So as it turned out, I had the pillow over my face during one part where they were showing the videotape, and Pablo says, you can move the pillow now, because what they were doing was telling me when that part was over so that I could take the pillow down. Pablo's like, you can move the pillow. And so I moved the pillow, and what do you know? This boy lied to me. Because it was not over. In fact, it was just beginning. and I watched it. So not too long after that, the phone rang. Now, if you remember what I said, one of the first things that happens is that she calls you and she whispers in the phone. So I'm the closest one sitting to the phone. So I picked it up. Because, you know, obviously I didn't think that it'd be like her calling. I thought it'd be an actual person. Right. So anyway, I pick up the phone and nobody says anything. Like, it was silent. And I'm telling you right now, I felt my heart drop. It dropped in my chest. And I hung it up because I was like, I'm not giving this girl the chance to tell me that I have 7 days. I am not giving it to her. I am getting ready to hang up right now. And she will never speak to me. So, you know, I'm kind of spooked at this point, because who calls, especially at that time of night, and doesn't say anything? You know, I'm just throwing that out there. So anyway, then after that, it was like shortly after that, like, I don't know, maybe about 15 minutes later, there's a knock, a really, really loud knock on the window behind me. So the way that my grandma's den is set up, so she's got the couch, and then the TV's in front of the couch, and then behind the couch is this really large window that covers like the entire wall. And it's got curtains and everything, but it's still a window. So I'm sitting there and I hear this really loud knock on the window. It's like, and I'm like, that's peculiar. Let me tell you why that's peculiar. So my grandma lives in the actual middle of nowhere. It takes 20 minutes for me to get there from my house, and you have to go down a bunch of like really long country roads full of forest. Nobody's there. It's just trees and land, and like, that's it. So no one should have been in her backyard at that time. She doesn't have like neighbors. So I was a little concerned. Rightfully so. Now, this is where the real kicker comes in. So after a few days had gone by, we finished the movie, and I didn't really think about it that much. Like, I thought about it the first couple of nights, and it bothered me to the point where I would put a blanket over the TV when I went to sleep. But that was just like for the first 2 or 3 days. And then the rest of the time, I kind of just like didn't even think about it. So I was cool, but I will say that I did avoid looking at anything circular for a very long time. Okay, anyway, so this is where it gets weird. On the last night that I was supposed to stay there with my grandma, it happened to be an exact 7 days later than we had watched that movie. And so I'm going to bed, and like I said, at this point I wasn't even thinking about the movie. So I go to sleep, and I wake up in the middle of the night because the TV is on and it turned to static. It's nothing but static on the TV, and it's really, really loud. So let me tell you why the static bothered me. First of all, the TV was not on when I went to sleep. It was off. Second of all, in the movie, before she would come out of the TV, it would turn to static. So as you can imagine, I was mortified. And I jump up out of the bed, I run out of the room, and I'm like trying to regain my composure. I'm like, okay, calm down, Asia. There is nothing in there. There's got to be an explanation for as to why this TV is now on. You get me? So I get myself together, I go back in the room, I turn the TV off, and I stay awake for the rest of the night. So around 5 or 6 in the morning, I go talk to my grandma because she's up. She gets up pretty early and she's on the phone and she's cooking breakfast. And I said, so last night the TV turned on, like, to static, and it was really loud. And she goes, oh yeah, it just does that sometimes. And I'm like, you know what TV just does that sometimes? That's not normal. That is not normal. So, yeah, that's just like kind of how that went. You know, that is why to this day I have told myself I will not watch another horror movie ever again. That is just not something I am interested in. I don't like it. I don't like being scared. I don't like going to haunted houses. I don't like any of that kind of stuff. I like to be happy. I like to watch comedies and things like that. Now, that's not to say I won't watch like a thriller or a suspense movie, because those aren't that bad. But I don't watch like straight horror. That's not gonna happen. I have gone to see some quote unquote horror films, but they weren't like, I'll say they were lighter, and it wasn't, I don't know how to describe it, but I'll say it was lighter, like Lights Out. I watched that. I didn't actually want to go see that, but I was with a group of friends and they all wanted to see it, so I went with them. Was truly terrified for like the first half of the movie, and then I was like, I was fine. But it like really was not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. And also I've seen some quote unquote horror, like M. Night's movies, like The Visit and Split. They're not that bad, and actually they're kind of more funny to me, especially The Visit. The Visit was hilarious. They're funnier to me than more than scary. I also watched Krampus, but that also was just funny. It wasn't scary. I laughed the whole time at that. So I'm okay with stuff like that, and I'm also okay with, again, quote unquote horror movies. They're not really, see, I don't see them like that. Stuff like Sweeney Todd or A Quiet Place. Now, A Quiet Place, I would see that more as a thriller, I guess, than a horror, but some elements of it I guess you could consider horror. But like, especially with Sweeney Todd, it was a musical. It was fine. It's got Johnny Depp in it. I'm not mad at it, you know. A Quiet Place was just beautifully written. John Krasinski, I think that's, isn't that how you say his name? Krasinski. John Krasinski really did a great job with that movie. It was masterful. It was beautiful. That's gonna go down as one of my favorite movies of all time. But anyway, like I said, I'm more afraid of like the like supernatural ones. So like, I'm not gonna watch anything with demons. I'm not gonna watch anything with ghosts. I don't want spirits in my house. So you're not gonna catch me like watching The Conjuring. None of that. I will be having none of that. And no like witches either. I don't like them. Cause let me take you back to another time actually, where my dad was watching, and I really want to say it was Alfred Hitchcock. Albert? Or what is that man's name? Hitchcock. I know. Alfred. I want to say it's Alfred. I don't know if it's Alfred or Albert. I'm gonna go with Alfred. Alfred Hitchcock. I want to say it was that. And I can't find the name of it. I was actually looking for it earlier, and it bothered me because I know I watched this movie. I know exactly what it was about because it terrified me. It really did. And he was like, oh, it's not bad. They're not scary. But it was. And it was an old black and white movie where like these, I think they were witches. I don't know. I'm not really sure. They would like sacrifice young women on like some day in February and then another time in Halloween. And so like actually that one scared me more than The Ring scared me, just because it was like realistic. It was way more realistic, I'll say that. So enough about that. What is next on the agenda? Okay, in the spirit of the spook, I will be reading some creepypastas, probably just one, because honestly these things really freak me out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to generate a random pasta to read so you can get my genuine reaction to it. So I'm going to go to that website. I found one on my phone. It's like it says you can click a button to say taste a random pasta, so they'll just like pull something up. Let's see. I have no clue what this is going to bring up. We'll see. Okay. Oh boy. How long is this? Oh, this is really long. Huh. Okay. Do I want to try to find a shorter one? I'm gonna try to find a shorter one. Oh my lord, this one's even longer. Wow. Okay, we're gonna try this one more time. One more time to see if we can find something a little bit shorter. Because these are really long. Oh god, no, I'm not reading that. Nope, 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 nope. I just read the first sentence and decided, I was like, nope. Okay. No, I don't want to read that either. Oh, these are weird. Okay. Well, okay, we might not be reading these. Be like totally honest with you. These are so weird. And like not weird in the way that I'd actually want to read that online. Because these are just like actually strange. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, this one sounds okay. Yeah, we'll read this one. Alright, it's called The Garden of Secrets. I was running. It was such a normal day. Where was she? I took my seat and pulled out my book. No way I would make it out of here. What is it? What? The teacher droned on and I let my eyes close as her voice faded into the background noise. The forest would swallow me up. Okay. I was called on during my nap and stumbled through my answer. I could tell my teacher hated me. Who wrote this? The secret gardener would get me sooner or later. What is that? I waited for the bell to ring so I could rush home. I was hungry. Mom wasn't home. I made a sandwich and went out for a walk. As I sat by a tree in my front yard and munched on my sandwich, I brushed through my hair and tied it up high so it didn't drag along the ground. I broke up the extra crust and tossed it all around for the birds. A large blue bird grabbed a piece and flew into the tree above me. I watched her land and break it up for her babies. As she turned, her tail feathers knocked a baby from the tree. Their spelling is horrendous. It flapped its wings, but it was too weak to fly. The baby landed right in front of me. I reached for it, but it hopped away. It was edging closer to the woods. Come back, I called, but it disappeared into the brush. I'm not alone in the woods. Oh, wait, no, I'm not allowed in the woods. See, I told you the spelling is really weird. Oh well, I thought as I stood up. I pulled my socks up high and adjusted my skirt and pushed through anyway. The bird needed to go home. I was afraid it would get lost. I tried to do a bird call, but it was a waste of time. Out of the corner of my eye there was movement. The bird. I inched closer. I could see the bright blue color through the greenery. It was still. It did not move even when I picked it up. It was dead. I dropped the bird and took a step back. The ground was soft. I looked down to see the body of an orange and white kitten. I jumped away. Then the smell hit. It was a bad smell, a gross smell. Dead animals surrounded my feet, as if I was on a trail paved with the deceased. Who wrote this? I looked behind me but couldn't see where I had entered. I followed the smelly dead path. The further I traveled, I want to get through with this story so bad. The further I traveled, the larger the animals were. Out of nowhere, animals faded into a path of faces, human faces. Some were happy, some sad. There were other variations of different emotions too. I kept walking because as I took steps, the path disappeared behind me. I was afraid if I strayed from the path, it would escape me altogether and I would have no idea where I was. I thought this person already didn't know where they were. Okay. Let me keep going. The path abruptly ended with a puddle of blood. I stepped into it. I could hear a faint singing. I think it was Pop Goes the Weasel, but I'm not sure. The longer I stood there, frozen in fear and confusion, the louder the song got. Before my very eyes, I watched another girl fade into view, sitting at the edge of the puddle. She looked exactly like me in every way. The only difference was... Okay. Well, guys, if you want to finish reading this, you can. But I just, I can't. I can't. That was unsettling. Bad, but unsettling. So I'm gonna rate that like 3 out of 10 pumpkins, maybe. Yeah, that'll do. 3 out of 10 pumpkins. Because that was not good. Okay, well. So anyway, I was gonna read a couple of those, but as you can see, that didn't go at all like I had planned. In that case. In that case, the second thing, well no, this is the third thing. The third thing I was going to do in this episode was I was going to attempt to write my own creepypasta on the spot. So how I'm going to do that is by this list of horror story prompts I found a few days ago. I've only read a few. I only read like the top couple of ones, so there's a bunch of them. I think there's 100 of them on this list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one that I haven't read yet, and I'm going to come up with a story, and then we're going to rate it like we did the other ones. We rated that one 3 out of 10 pumpkins. Let's see if I can at least hit a 4 out of 10 pumpkins with my story. Let's do the thing. Here we go. Spooky story time. It's really cringy. I'm so sorry. Okay. So I'm going to this website, and oh, these pictures are creepy. These pictures are creepy. These pictures are creepy. Okay, I'm reading a couple. Some of these are not for me. They are not for me at all. What? These are so weird. Okay, let's try this one. It's number 62. Little Red Riding Hood was a vampire. We can handle that one. Alright, so that's my prompt. I'm gonna attempt to come up with a story for it. So once upon a time, you always have to start off with once upon a time. Once upon a time, there was this little girl, and she was called Little Red Riding Hood. She wore her red hood because in the daytime she couldn't bear to be in the sun because she was a vampire. And every day she would go visit someone who she called grandmother. And she'd take grandmother a basket of goodies. But no one actually ever knew what was in the basket of goodies. They never looked. They didn't really think to. She looked like a normal little girl just taking muffins to her grandmother in a basket. And they didn't know she was a vampire either. Where's the story going? Okay, so one day she's walking, delivering this basket of goodies to quote unquote grandmother. And she is stopped by a mysterious man. And he says, "Where do you think you're going?" She says, "I'm going to my grandmother's house. This is where I go every day. Who are you?" And he says, "Don't worry about that." And she's like, "Okay, get out my way." So she continues to walk because her mother told her not to talk to strangers. But the stranger did not want to let her through. He watched her walk off, but he knew something was up with this little girl. He just couldn't pinpoint it. And so he followed her through the woods. He followed her over the river and then through the woods again. Because they were going to grandmother's house. I really don't know where the story is going. When she finally arrived at her grandmother's house, she opened the door and she went inside. And the man stood and looked in the window. And what he saw, what did he say? I don't know what he saw. What did he see? Something, like, I've set this story up like something's obviously wrong with the grandmother or something like that. I keep like quote unquote grandmother. But now I don't even know what this man saw. Okay, let me think. What did he see? He looks in the window and he sees Little Red Riding Hood holding up okay. And he sees just had a coughing fit. I got it. He looks in the window and he sees Little Red Riding Hood open her basket of goodies. But instead of muffins, it's actually containers of blood. Because the grandmother is too old to go and hunt for blood herself because she's an old vampire and she's dying. This is great. Okay, let's keep going. So Little Red Riding Hood hands her grandmother all of these items and her grandmother's like, "Thank you, my child." And yeah, so the man's like, "Busted." And he kicks through the door. Turns out that this man was actually not a man at all, but he was a werewolf because now it's nighttime, conveniently. And now he can turn into a werewolf. Little Red Riding Hood and this werewolf, they're fighting. They are fighting to the death. And the grandmother is just laying in the bed because she's real sick. That's kind of it. That's kind of all I have. I'm really bad at this. Yeah, so I write, like, it's weird because I write scripts and I write stories all the time, but like this is just not my genre. This is just not it. So who won? Who won the fight between Little Red Riding Hood and the werewolf? Neither one. Because then the lumberjack, like in some versions of Little Red Riding Hood, there's the lumberjack who like sees all that happening and then he goes and like he like cuts open the wolf to get the to get the grandmother out, I think. I am not sure. I think that's what he did. So in this story, however, the lumberjack goes inside and he's like, 2 vampires and a werewolf, not in my town. And he uses his axe to end them all. And that is it. That is the story of Little Red Riding Hood, the vampire. Yes, that's the story. I know. So compare it to the story about the girl with the bird and the other little girl and the faces. That story was a 3 out of 10 pumpkins, and I kind of want to give it a 2.5. My story was a good decent 6 out of 10 pumpkins. 6 out of 10 pumpkins. I think we're gonna end on that. We're gonna end on that note. We're not gonna attempt that anymore. Alright, so before we go, let's wrap this up. I do want to share a few of the songs on my Spooktacular song playlist. I got 4 of them. Okay, so the first one I want to tell you about is called The House on Shady Lane by the Plain White Tees. In my phone, it autocorrected to the Plain White It's. Okay, it's the Plain White Tees. And I actually don't know but like 2 songs by them. This one and like 1 more from a long time ago. Because I don't even think they've come out with anything recently. Let me Google that. Let me fact check myself. The Plain White Tees. What are they doing with their lives? And I also I can't figure out what the other name of that song is that I know by them. Let's see. Oh, duh, I'm so stupid. Hey There Delilah. Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. So, yeah, that's it. That's all I know by them. Everybody knows Hey There Delilah. Hey there Delilah, what's it like in New York City? I'm 1,000 miles away, but girl, tonight you look so pretty, yes you do. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so that's the song, and how I heard it for the first time was back when Freeform was ABC Family. They had ABC Family's 13 Nights of Halloween. And one year I was at my grandma's house. I told you I was there all the time. And it was late at night and I was watching the commercial for ABC Family's 13 Nights of Halloween. And I wish I could find it. I've been looking for this commercial because I want to see it. I want to eat that nostalgia. But I can't because I can't find it. And so they were playing this song in the background. And they were playing it. What were they playing? They were playing it with scenes from Corpse Bride, which is a movie that I really enjoy. It's animated and it's good. It's by Tim Burton, so that tells you something. Ooh, my phone. Okay, so they played this song with scenes from Corpse Bride, which at the time I hadn't seen yet, and I was like, oh, a Tim Burton movie that I haven't seen? That is unacceptable. So I said, and this song is really cool. And I thought the song was actually going to be in the movie, but it wasn't. So I watched the movie and then I downloaded the song. So it was a win-win. But it was really cool because it was like, I'm trying to think of how it goes. There's a house on Shady Lane. It's the chorus part that I go, oh, oh, oh. I'm scared of this old house. When the lights go out, all the ghosts come out at night. They dance in the shadows of the moonlight. Don't open that cellar door. Yeah, okay, that was it. That's the part that got me. And the ghosts come out at night. They dance in the shadows of the moonlight. I love that part. It's really cool. So, that's song number 1. Song number 2 on my Spooktacular playlist. I'm clapping a whole lot. For no reason. I bother myself sometimes. These are only a few, by the way. I'm only gonna name 4. The top 4 on the list. Thriller by Michael Jackson. So everyone who knows me knows that I am the biggest Michael Jackson fan. And I have been since I was a little girl. I was 4. Oh, I got the hiccups. I was 4 when I first discovered Michael Jackson, and at the time I did not think Thriller was a good song. Probably because, like I said, I don't like to be scared, and the music video was scary to me. But now I recognize the song for like the masterpiece that it is. It's really good. And so was like everything that he sang, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. So that's a classic though. Everyone knows Thriller. We all know the dance. It's like a do 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 do. Something like, okay, maybe I don't know the dance. I was just doing it, honestly. I just did it like 2 days ago. And now I can't even think. For those of you who are listening by audio and not by YouTube, I just tried to do the dance and it did not work out at all. Moving on. The third song is the Monster Mash, which I haven't heard in years, but let me tell you, I added it to my Spooktacular song playlist because I was watching Dancing with the Stars Jr. and I was watching Dancing with the Stars Jr. for a couple of specific people. One of those people was Mackenzie Ziegler, who is the sister of Maddie Ziegler, both of whom I am a fan of, because they were on Dance Moms. And also Maddie was in some of Sia's videos, and if you know me, I'm also a really big fan of Sia, so I had to watch it, basically. That's my point. I had to watch Dancing with the Stars Jr. because Mackenzie was on it. And she did a song for Halloween night. She did a dance. She didn't do the song. She did a dance to the song Monster Mash. And she did so good. Like I had to rewind it like 3 times to go back and watch it because she has grown so much since her Dance Mom days, and just I'm going off into a tangent here, but that's okay. It's by who's that song by? I want to say his name is Bobby Pickett. That's what I want to say. So hopefully I'm right. I think I'm right. So yeah, that's number 3 on the list. Number 4 is Spooky Scary Skeletons, because that is another classic. A classic, I tell you. Oh, I just went out of focus. Again. You camera. I'm here. Okay, there it is. It's by Andrew Gold, and I like both versions. I like the original and I like the remix, but I specifically added the remix because of the dance that pumpkin-headed dude did to the remix. So yeah, but I really love the original, and I love the video where somebody put like the bounce and stretch skeletons with it. Oh, it's so good. Okay, well that's it. That's really all I had planned for this, and I didn't even do as much as I wanted to because I didn't even get through the creepypasta. I wanted to read like a couple, but I got kind of freaked out, so I stopped. Yeah, this diffuser, by the way, it's like a mix of clove and rosemary. Smells absolutely amazing. And I think I'm going to keep it on even after I turn the podcast off. So thank you for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed. And what am I trying to say? I lost my train of thought that fast. Oh, you can't see it, but I'll probably put a picture in here when I edit this. Don't count on me for that, but I'll probably do it. I spent 30 minutes doing my makeup for this because I don't wear makeup, but I figured, I was like, hey, I'm doing a spooky podcast episode, why not be extra? Right? Oh, stuff got in my nose. Why not be extra? But you can't even see it because I didn't really think this through. I knew I wanted to have like no light for this episode, just like the dimness of this makeup. Oop, I turned it off. The makeup light and this. Oop, okay. and my diffuser, the light from my diffuser, which can change colors, by the way, but I made it red. So I didn't really think this through. You can't see my makeup at all, but I did it. Anyway, like I said, that is it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. I'm gonna go to bed now, and I will see you guys next Wednesday for more. Please come back. Please don't leave me hanging. Please don't shut me out. Please don't slam the door. Something distance anymore. 'Cause for the first time in forever. Let me end this. Bye.